All right, welcome in everybody for the Forward Down the Field podcast. I'm your host, Rob Young Bob Anderson. My co-host Jeremy J. Dub Whalen couldn't make it this week, at least with me. He might be doing a pod later tonight or tomorrow when he gets time, but I am unavailable after tonight. So, recap of last week. I think I went 500 in college, 4-2 in the NFL, and 5-1 in fantasy. Last week, obviously, was Michigan, Michigan State, two teams that are not good. And Michigan ended up pulling it out after a terrible first quarter. Michigan State's play calling, I think, was pretty conservative, even though they were able to run the ball. That did not complement their passing game. I think they could have exploited Michigan downfield if they were to give it a chance, but it was Smith's first game in the rivalry, and he said clearly after the game he now knows it's different. So Michigan got the big win. They have a chance to get to bowl eligibility here in a few games. I say a few games because they will not beat Oregon. They will not beat Indiana, and they will be circling the Northwestern game as a game that will get them to be bowl eligible. So let's dive into this week. I've been high on this team all year. Obviously, I love Army for obvious reasons, but they are playing Air Force this week, and Army is laying 22. The over/under is 41 and a half. Army has been killing everybody this year, and Air Force is terrible. I don't know if I think the over might hit, honestly, just because Army, I think, is going to score quite a bit. But historically speaking, in this matchup, the unders do hit. I think Army is going to come out and just do what they've been doing all year, and I think they're going to keep it rolling against the Falcons. So give me Army laying the 22. Next game, we got Indiana traveling to East Lansing. The line is Indiana minus 7.5. And the over-under is 51 and a half. And I'm actually going with Michigan State in this one after last week's loss to Michigan. I think they're going to come home. Indiana might be getting their starting quarterback back for this game, but we don't know what his grip strength is going to be. And I think Michigan State in this spot, it's a spot play. I think Michigan State doesn't win the game, but I think that they will keep it relatively close. I think Smith is going to do what he probably should have done last week and take some chances downfield. And I think they're going to connect on a couple and keep it relatively close going into the final few minutes of that game where Indiana's going to pull it out. So next game, I got the game in the big house. We just talked about Michigan State last week. Michigan, big game last week. I know Colston Loveland basically said that his Wolverines will just try to play spoiler to teams this year. The bottom line is Michigan does not have the weapons to hang with Oregon. I was working the field back in 2007 when actually, it might have been 2008, but Oregon came into the big house with Dennis Dixon and just rolled us. It was the game after the Appalachian State game. I think it was 2007. But they crushed us. I think it's going to be relatively close to that game. If you look back to the team that was Michigan that year, they had similar quarterback play. It was not good. They needed to hang with Oregon. Oregon's been rolling. I think they're going to get the job done in the big house. I have them laying 14 and a half. The over might hit as well, just 'cause I think Oregon might get well into the mid 30s, maybe upper 30s, and I think Michigan will score, at least a touchdown, maybe get to 10 points. But I don't see Michigan really keeping this one close. Hope I'm wrong. Go blue, but yeah, Oregon's rolling, and this is a terrible team that Michigan has. So. We're going to keep it in the Big Ten. There's a lot of Big Ten matchups in this week's board. We're going to go to Iowa, Kinnick Stadium at night. Iowa's hosting Wisconsin. Iowa's laying 3, over-unders 40 and a half. Last week, Cade McNamara got banged up. I believe it was like a concussion. And they had a new quarterback come in. His name's escaping me right now, but he did come in and he played pretty good. Even though it was Northwestern, I think Kinnick Stadium at night. I am going to actually, you know what? I'm going to go Wisconsin in this one. I'm gonna go Wisconsin in this one in a tough game. Just getting the 3 points. Fun fact about this matchup is not a team or a team hasn't won this matchup in back-to-back years in the last, I think, 7 years. I think was the last time someone went back to back, and it's the first time since like 2002 or three. I think their team wasn't ranked in this matchup when they faced off. So big game in the Big Ten. Might not be for anything special, but I like seeing Wisconsin Iowa play. It's going to be physical. Kinnick Stadium's no joke. I've been there. It's going to be a hard fought game, but give me Wisconsin on the road getting a field goal. Last game of the college slate. I'm going to go to the ACC where the undefeated Pittsburgh Panthers are traveling to SMU. SMU's minus 7.5. The over under is 58.5. This game is pretty interesting for a lot of reasons. The winner of this game is probably going to make it to the ACC championship game in my mind and probably play Miami. I know Clemson's there. I think they're going to slip up here further down the line, but I think the winner of this game is going to be SMU, but 7.5 are giving me a touchdown and a hook. I'll take the undefeated Pittsburgh team that's been playing pretty solid up to this point. Um, and I do actually have a teaser pleaser for those that are interested. I know Jeff would maybe be interested in hearing this. But if I were to do a teaser this week in college, it would be Penn State getting 10 points. This is a 7 point teaser, by the way. Penn State getting 10 points at home against Ohio State. Oh, I didn't even touch on Ohio State, Penn State real quick. I'm sorry, everybody. Ohio State's traveling to Happy Valley. It's the game of the week. Game day is going to be there. Big Noon's going to be there. Ohio State laying 3.5 over Penn State. Over unders 45. I actually like two plays in this one. I like Penn State getting the 3.5, and I like the over. I think Ohio State's going to try to get it going, but Penn State is no slouch. They're at home. They've been playing great all year. I think Ohio State's not as quite as good as people thought they were going to be. Last week obviously showed that they should have lost that game outright at home to Nebraska. So I like Penn State getting 3 in the hook, and I like also the over in this game as well. So I actually got 7 plays in college. But back to the teaser pleaser. This is plus 450. It's a 7 point teaser. I like Penn State getting 10 points at home. These are updated lines for this, by the way. Penn State getting 10 points at home. Army laying 15 at home over Air Force. Oregon laying 7.5 at Michigan. Georgia playing Florida, laying 9 in the largest cocktail party. I like the dogs in that one to win by double digits. Clemson's hosting Louisville. I have them only laying 3 in that teaser. And Tennessee with those sick dark matter black and orange uniforms that they're going to be sporting against Kentucky at home. They're only laying 9.5. So that is a 6-leg, 7 point teaser that pays 450. Going to the NFL now. I'm going to save the Lions and Packers for last. We're going to start out in the AFC where the Ravens are hosting the Broncos. Ravens minus 9, over under 45.5. I know Bo Nix has been playing really good so far in the last handful of games. He's starting to feel a little comfortable in that offense now, but here's the thing. They didn't play a team like the Ravens in that win streak that they got going on. So I'm going to lay the 9 points for the Ravens at home. I think Derrick Henry is going to feast. I don't see Lamar Jackson really going at Patrick Surtain. So I think they're going to keep it on the ground. I think the defense shows up in this one. Broncos kind of come back down to reality a little bit, and I like the Ravens to win by double digits in that. AFC East, Dolphins are going to the Bills, where the Bills are laying 6 points after just throttling Seattle at the 12th man last week. The over-under is 50. Tua has never historically got it going passing against Buffalo, whether it's in the up in the cold or down by South Beach. I'm going to go Bills. They got it going right now. They're rolling. I'm going to go with Josh Allen at home, laying less than a touchdown against a Dolphins team that I really don't think is that good, to be completely honest with you. So give me the Bills. We're going to switch to the NFC now, where the Cowboys are going to Atlanta, where the Falcons are laying 2.5. Over under is 52. I like Kirk Cousins and them boys down there in Atlanta to get the job done. They're only laying 2.5. The Cowboys just can't seem to get anything going. I think Atlanta's going to come out of the NFC South when the season's over. And this is a game that they have to have if that's going to come true. So give me the Dirty Birds down there, laying less than a field goal. We're going to stay in the NFC, but move out west. The Rams are traveling to Seattle, who we just mentioned. The Rams are favored by 1.5. The over/under is 48.5. Yeah, I like the Rams in this one. Seattle's still banged up. We don't know if DK Metcalf is going to play, but even if he does, I still like the Rams. I have the Rams winning that division at this point in the season. The Niners are too banged up. I like the Rams right now. They kind of withstood the blows from having no Nakua or Cup up to this point. And last week, Stafford had both of them, and he looked really good. He looked the part. The Rams are only giving up 1.5. I like them. I mean, all of us saw how good they were last year in the playoffs when we played them, and that came down to the wire. And honestly, that could have gone either way. So I like the Rams. I think they're going to get hot going forward here. I think they're going to be a threat in the NFC. But we'll have to wait and see. I mean, that's the game that both teams need to have, especially for playoff implications right now. We're going to stay. Nope, we're not going to stay in the NFC. We got actually an NFC at AFC matchup. The Bucks are traveling to Kansas City. Baker Mayfield, or Laser Mayfield is what they've been calling him as of late. He's been getting it done, but not this week. I have the Chiefs laying 8.5 and getting that win and covering the spread. Um, I just, you're going to go up against that Chiefs defense in Arrowhead with none of those weapons. I just don't see it. This is a defense that they haven't really seen so far during the early part of the season, where I think the Chiefs are going to get to Baker. I think they're going to get to him, rattle him. I like the Chiefs. I think their offense is going to start getting it going a little bit more. They added DeAndre Hopkins. Xavier Worthy's going to get better as the year goes. Hunt is going to be more familiar and more comfortable in this offense after being picked up a few weeks ago. After the Rashee Rice injury, Travis Kelce's been getting it going too. I think it's just going to be at the end of the day too much for the Bucks to keep this one close throughout the game, and I like the Chiefs winning by double digits as well. I did do a 6-point teaser for the NFL. This is plus 600 for those that want to look at it. The Bills, like we just talked about, I have them in a pick 'em with the teaser over the Dolphins. Bengals, dropped that down to only giving up 1 point at home over the Raiders. I got the Patriots getting 9.5 traveling to Tennessee, who we saw last week. They suck. Patriot defense hasn't been all that great so far, but the Tennessee offense, as we know, is not that good. So I like the Pats getting 9.5 there. I got the Panthers actually getting 13 points at home against the Saints. You have Derek Carr coming back this week off that injury, but I don't feel comfortable with how he's going to look against a Carolina team that has actually not been as bad as what people honestly think. I mean, I know Bryce Young's pretty bad. I'm hoping to see Andy Dalton, but in a home spot against a divisional game, against a team that's really not that good in themselves. Yeah, I like the Panthers getting 13 points there. Two legs left. I like the Eagles at home, only laying 1.5 over the Jaguars, who are banged up at wideout. It looks like those wideouts are moving towards playing on Sunday, but even so, the Eagles seem like a team that's getting it going right now. No one's complaining about touches. Saquon last week was asked if uh, I think it was last week anyway. He was like 13 yards away from his career high, and he was asked if he wanted to go and get that, and he said no. Let these other guys go out there and eat. So I like where the Eagles are as a team right now. I know the Commanders are doing really good, but they got kind of lucky last week at home against Chicago. They had to have a Hail Mary. So I like the Eagles actually coming out of that division, and they're only going to lay 1.5 in that matchup. And the last leg here is the Bears traveling out to the desert to play the Cardinals. The Bears coming off that humiliating Hail Mary. last week, but they're getting 7 and a hook on the road. I think they're going to keep it relatively close, and I actually think they can pull off that upset. So to go over this teaser pleaser that pays 6 to 1, Bills even, Bengals -1, Pats +9.5, Panthers +13, Eagles -1.5, and the Bears getting 7 and a hook. And that wraps it up for the pick section. I'll be coming right back to do the fantasy.